All right. Hello, everyone. I apologize for that. Let me adjust my angle here. I apologize for that. Let me make sure I can see myself on the tube. Well, I'm waiting. Okay, there is the live symbol. I'm going to click on that. All right, let me go back. Let me try this here. Okay, there's Jim. Okay, that's a live link. And there is an ad. Okay, let me skip past this ad. Let me skip past this ad. And there's me. All right. Yeah, I apologize. I meant to start this at noon. I went to get a one last workout in for this week, and I got invited to a quinceañera tonight. So I had to stop and get a card, and I had to stop and get some money. And then once I got back here, my computer did its freeze thing. So then I had to reboot the computer, and here we are. So we're going to rock for about an hour. I have a hard stop, so I'm not going to drag this stream out too long. This is going to be the last Michigan football stream here until late August, just before kickoff. Good news. I've been talking with Johnny Olden, and Johnny said he would come back and Johnny said he would come back and give his prognosis on the 2023 season. So today we've got Buckeye Alex. He's going to join me. I'm going to sprint through some things really, really quickly, and then I'll bring Alex up, and then I'll wrap up because I'm starting late and I have a hard stop. I have some more things to move through. Something got plopped in my lap early this morning, and I told the person I would do it. So I'm going to play Let's Go Blue, and then I'll jump in, and then we'll see where the convo goes. All right, I'll see you on the other side. All right, Buckeye Alex, I see you're there. You know, Buckeye Alex, it was the peer pressure. We were texting last night about getting more workouts in, and I said, okay, Alex is going to work out today. So let me go and get one more in myself. So that's why I ran over to the gym to hit the bag. So I guess you could say Buckeye Alex kind of contributed to this late start, but in a good way. If you're going to spend a lot of time in front of screens and in the internet, then you have to invest the time outside of the internet in your physical fitness. Okay, let's have a quick word from Brady Hoke.
We understand what Michigan football means and what Michigan football is. We will always be about the team at Michigan. This is never going to be about Brady Hoke.
No, Brady Hoke is not the coach now, but he gave a lot of timeless sound bites when he was the coach. And so it's part of my job to carry those sound bites forward. So sound bites are good. Same thing with Lloyd Carr. Lloyd Carr is no longer the coach, but he created a lot of historic sound bites. And it's my job as a content creator and as a Michigan football fan to carry those sound bites forward. Let's have another word from Brady.
But I was not a fan of that university in Ohio because my buddies were, so I had to be different.
I was not a fan of that university from Ohio, but my buddies were, so I had to be different. Let's hear a quick word from Lloyd, and then I'll jump in because, again, I'm starting late and I have a hard stop.
In today's world, intercollegiate athletics at a place like Michigan, the pressure on those guys is unbelievable, and they got to want that pressure. Okay,
I was going to do the top 25 first, but I'll do that as a way to bring Alex up. I'm going to sprint through the latest Michigan football news, and then I'll bring Alex up. So everyone, if you haven't, please smash that like button if you're watching on the playback. I think the thing with this Friday time slot is that folks are at work, folks are on vacation, and a lot of folks aren't available to watch live. But if you're watching on the playback, please smash that like button. If you're new, please consider subscribing. Shout out to Bo Lytle. Respect is earned. So that's your decision if you want to join the channel and subscribe. I'm at 1,188. So 12 more. I don't have 12 fingers, but 12 more will get me to 1,200. So if you're watching on the playback, please consider subscribing. Help get me to 1,200. Okay, so the latest Michigan football news. Well, I think I heard through my text group, Buckeye Alex is a part of that group, and I think I'm outnumbered in that group. But we got word this week that Coach Harbaugh, it looks like he's going to have to sit out the first 4 games. So he's going to have to sit out the month of September. Fortunately, and this is from those violations back during the COVID year or the COVID period, something to that effect. The good thing is it's the first 4 games. Michigan is expected to steamroll those first 4 opponents. I'm thinking about going to the East Carolina game, and that's part of the fun of seeing Jim on the sidelines. So it'll be disappointing with him not being on the sidelines. But fortunately, it's the first 4 games, and Michigan is expected to demolish those first 4 opponents. So his not being there should not hurt the team's chances of going 4-0 in those first 4 weeks. And I think as a matter of fact, I think the 5th game in September is the Nebraska game out in Lincoln, but he'll be back for that one. So the team would be in the hands of Sharon Moore and Jesse Minter or whomever. And of course, they'll be on the phone talking. He just can't be on the sidelines for those first 4 games. And as I was thinking, I think this happened to Herb too, when Herb's last year, the revenge tour year, I think Herb had to sit out the first couple of games. Ryan Day manned the helm. Ryan Day was in charge. I don't know if that's the right term, but Ryan Day oversaw the team while Herb was out. Herb's last year. You get the idea. And I feel like this has happened to some other coaches too. Did this ever happen to Saban? I don't know, but this has happened before. So that was news from this week. This next one, according to this piece from MLive, I think Buckeye Alex will have a gander of this. Our beloved Maize and Blue are favorites to win the Big Ten again. Okay, so based upon our schedule, based upon the talent we have coming back, based upon our quarterback, Alex is going to have some choice words about JJ McCarthy. We know that. But so far, Michigan is picked to win the Big Ten. And in my opinion, if they stay healthy at the key positions, again, if they stay healthy, not the big if, you never know. That's the big wild card in sports. If they stay healthy for the most part, I think that's a sound prediction. I don't see why they wouldn't, unless Buckeye Alex's team has something that we don't expect when they come to the big house in late November. But I think the health is going to be the key. JJ staying healthy and staying upright, the backs staying healthy, pass protection, and so on, et cetera, et cetera. And by the nature of football, we know that teams get nicked up, and those injuries come out of nowhere as you get to the end of the season. A good case in point is Blake Corum, who suffered that knee injury in the Illinois game. And there are countless examples in college football and the NFL about that. You never know how things are going to play out due to injuries, but that's a part of the game. That's why you have to build depth, and that's why you recruit at least you try to recruit the top athletes at each position. Oh, this is a older shirt. I had this shirt when I was a grad student. I did a short with this shirt. I decided to change it up and go with the gray instead of the maize, the blue shirt. So I changed it up. So this is, and it looks pretty decent on camera still, though it's old. It's older. One time my brother actually asked me, how many Michigan shirts do you have? I've got a whole bunch. And there are two that I'm going to debut once the season starts that I got when I was in Ann Arbor last month. All right. This article, and it comes from that team down south. It comes from their media. And this is one of Alex's favorite topics. That team up north, is JJ McCarthy really all that? Okay, we've heard Buckeye Alex sound off about this. He's a gamer. He's not a great quarterback. He threw to guys who were defending wide receivers in zero coverage. He really hasn't had to read defenses. So according to Buckeye Alex and a lot of other people, JJ has a lot to prove still. So he's never been, this will be the first year he's had the starting position outright with no questions. There's no Cade. There's no one competing for the job with him. So as long as he stays healthy, as long as he doesn't have a second full season like, or should I say, as long as his season doesn't start off like Wilton Spate's second season as the starter started off, then JJ should be fine. But now he has to prove that he can do it again. The assumption is he and the offense will take strides and take that next step and just pick up where they left off before the TCU game. But let's see what happens. My opinion, again, is that the key is health. This is, all these articles are below in the description box. I'm just sprinting through them for the sake of time. And then this one I thought was interesting. Please smash that like button if you're coming in. It's funny that some people, by virtue of being enemies of the program and enemies of our coach, they are somehow linked to discussions about our team. So this is entitled Paul Finebaum once again doesn't give Michigan football credit entering the 2023 season. It's becoming a theme with ESPN. It's becoming a theme with the ESPN personality, and he's at it again. So I skimmed through this. I think what happened is that Paul did not mention our beloved Maize and Blue among the teams who could win the national title. I don't think he necessarily took shots at Jim and the team in this article, but he noticeably did not mention us in the race for the national title. So again, business as usual. He's been a Harbaugh critic for the longest time, and this is nothing new. Okay, so I'm going to throw up the top 25, and then I will bring Buckeye Alex up. Let me drop the link in the chat. And I suspect once Alex comes up, the numbers will go up because Alex draws the crowd. Me, you guys don't come to see me. I'm boring. Who wants to come see me? But when Alex comes, the chat seems to get a little more lively. So here's the StreamYard link. All right, the top 25, the current top 25. And it's always a little deceptive to create a preseason. I always thought it was a little deceptive to create a preseason top 25 because you just never know how things are going to shake out at the end of the season. So these are all predictions. This is on NCAA.com. This is entitled College Football Rankings Preseason Top 25 for the 2023 season. So Georgia's predicted to be number one, or should I say they're ranked number one, coming off their second straight national title. We are ranked number 2. Ohio State is ranked number 3. Alex, if you're out there, the link is there in the chat. Alabama is ranked number 4. Penn State is ranked number 5. LSU is ranked number 6. Florida State is ranked number 7. USC is ranked number 8. Washington is ranked number 9. TCU is ranked number 10. It'll be interesting to see if they can recreate the magic that they created last year. Of course, some things fell in place for them, such as USC losing in their championship game. Utah's number 11, Tennessee's number 12, Notre Dame's number 13, Clemson's number 14, Oregon is number 15, Oregon State is number 16, Texas is number 17, Tulane's number 18, Texas Tech is number 19, Kansas State is number 20, Iowa is 21. We may see them. They may be a force to be reckoned with this year with Cade and Eric All. North Carolina is number 22. Wisconsin is number 23. Ole Miss is number 24. And the University of Texas at San Antonio is number 25. There's Coach Harbaugh clapping on the sidelines. All right. We'll see that happening after September. And again, looking at that top 25, I'm going to bring you up right now, Alex. Just remember, everyone, that at the beginning of the 2021 season, Michigan was not ranked, and that's when they embarked on that historic comeback for the program. So those are predictions. Anything can happen once kickoff takes place at the beginning of September. What's going on, Alex?
What say you? How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. It's funny you mentioned the whole workout thing. I'm actually going to try to get in another run. Ran about 3 miles this morning and try to get in another 3 miles.
Geez.
After we hop off. So
you're just pushing up the average score, man. So no one can compete.
Listen, I'm on a mission, right? I'm on a mission. So I have something I have a goal I want to reach, and I'll just do whatever I can to kind of get there. So, you can keep up though. I'm sure you can keep up.
Okay. Well, I got invited to a quinceañera later on, so I'm not running. I'm consuming.
No, you're not running a quinceañera. No, you're not. Yeah. But yeah, I thought it was, I kind of want to touch on a couple of things. I think it's interesting how the hypocrisy of the NCAA is it just never ends. Once I kind of read into Harbaugh suspension, it's kind of like for coaches that are out there and players, especially in high school, if you're a coach, you understand that kids who can't go to camps to work out, the school can't necessarily come to them. You send them Zoom footage. I've been a basketball coach for a long time, coach football. off and on for about 10 years. That's a normal thing. Sending coaches film. I think it's just silly. It's like I don't even understand why they would even suspend them. Honestly, like, you're suspending them for games that they're not going to impact the team's record. You're not really hurting the school. It's just kind of I don't know what the point of that suspension was. Really, it just doesn't. The NCAA does things that don't make a lot of sense to me, and that's definitely another one to add to the list.
Okay, so the violation was what they received team footage from?
So
or player footage.
Yeah, so what I read was they were watching footage of a kid via Zoom during COVID. Kids send footage all the time. It's pretty much the same thing. Now, I didn't catch if it was like during a dead period, which, that's a violation, but it's not. That's more or less like a fine than an actual like games lost, but or games missed. So it didn't make a lot of sense to me. Especially, unfortunately, like I guess one of the kids who was part of the violation was he was a football player trying to come back. He had leukemia. He was really trying to do his best to prove that he can still play football. So, you kind of go above and beyond for somebody like that to really take a hard look at him. And it's just, it's just goofy. I think it's just word I use when it comes to NCAA. They're just goofy over there, man. Like, not really sure who's running that ship, or, they just kind of do whatever they want to do, and they don't answer anybody. So I guess when you don't have to answer anybody, you can do goofy stuff the way that they do.
Okay. All right. What do you think about the Wolverines being picked to win the Big Ten?
They should be. Yeah, that's more than fair. They've beaten Penn State and Ohio State the last 2 years. They're two-time Big Ten champions. I wouldn't see why they wouldn't be picked coming back. They have their quarterback back. They have their running back, their top 2 running backs. They lost some offensive line and some positions on the defense, but they have a lot of people returning. So that's just kind of a no-brainer that they would be picked to win the Big Ten this year.
Okay.
Now, I don't believe that J.J. McCarthy is a generational quarterback, though. I don't believe that. That I don't believe.
Okay.
Right? Generational quarterback. Listen. Harbaugh's a goofy guy. He's a goofy dude. So I just take that with a grain of salt, really. We know what generational quarterbacks are. So we've seen them. Like Michael Vick was a generational quarterback.
I was going to ask you at the college level who you're referring to.
Cam Newton is a generational quarterback. Andrew Luck was a generational quarterback. Peyton Manning was a generational quarterback. Dwayne Haskins was a generational quarterback. I mean, he threw for 5,000 yards. Like guys like that, like, he's not even in that league yet, right? So
okay, but you're talking about guys who produced at the college level, not who went on to produce at the NFL level.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, so some guys are still trying to figure it out, right? You have Justin Fields, who, is in god awful Chicago. I mean, that's where you want to send your ex-wife to die. Nobody wants to play in Chicago. So, he's still trying to figure it out. Trevor Lawrence is a generational quarterback. I mean, guys like that, who just have all the measurables, can make all the throws, can do anything manipulate defenses, can do anything on a football field. So, those guys are generational. I wouldn't say J.J. McCarthy is generational today, but we still have a full season to play, right? Like that could change. I think he has all the tools to do it, but there's a lot of things. A lot of things have to go right for him to kind of make that next jump. So, we'll just have to wait and see.
Okay. Now no one would have thought Tom Brady was a generational quarterback either. I mean,
I think generational quarterback in the sense of the pros, right? Like the right situation. So I think if Tom Brady goes to any other team any other situation, he's not Tom Brady.
Okay.
So I think, organizations, I mean, we've had this conversation before. I'm a full believer that organizations and institutions win championships, not players. So, I mean, you could replace, at one point in time, you could replace Peyton Manning with Tom Brady, and Peyton Manning probably would have got as many championships, if not more, than Tom Brady would have with the Patriots. So, situations really dictate your development, pretty much at every level. So, we'll just, like I said, we'll just have to wait and see what comes of him. I think he's talented, right? He has a lot of talent, but as a third-year player, second-year starter, I don't know if that's necessarily good enough to put your name in the hat of those other guys I named previously. So we'll just have to wait and see. Listen, I hope the best for him. I really hope he does. I mean, he's a gamer, but I don't think he can throw the football at all. But please prove me wrong. 50% completion percentage, it's not good. So that's like Joe Milton numbers, if you remember that.
Yeah, and so one of the things that Jim hasn't had is a quarterback do it over a series of years. He's had guys come in, have a good year, but for one reason or the other, maybe they were a grad transfer, maybe most of the other skill players graduated, or maybe they changed the system, as the case was with Shea Patterson or something. He hasn't had a quarterback do it over a series of years.
Yeah, and that's the thing. So you have to have – it's very, very tricky. You have to have the right player at the right time with the right offense, with the right players, with the right defense, right? So one could say Shea Patterson was a decent quarterback at Michigan. I think he was above average. The problem was that Michigan kept giving up 60 points to different teams, right? So that overshadows what he actually did on the football field. Not to mention, like the defense is supposed to complement an offense. The offense is supposed to complement a defense, especially in football. If Michigan had a competent defense, by competent I mean when they played Ohio State, not all the other games, but if they had a competent defense against Ohio State, that changes how your defense plays as a quarterback, changes like the decisions that you make on the field, right? So we don't know if the defense was half good where they could actually guard some crossing routes across the field. We don't know what decision Shea Patterson would have made with the football, where maybe you guys could have came away with that win. So, fast forward, the defense complements the offense, what they want to do. The defense is a bend, don't break, and Michigan is we're just going to run it down your throat and try to get some play action over the pass, get some first downs, but we're just going to physically try to wear you out. And that's kind of what they have an identity. That's what they are. Both things complement each other very well. I think it doesn't necessarily accent the things that JJ McCarthy could do unless they open up the offense a little bit, which I don't necessarily see them doing because they already have an identity. I think that would be a mistake. But it doesn't mean that he doesn't necessarily have the skills to transition that offense a little bit. I just hope they don't get away from what their identity is, because that's how you really lose your program.
Okay, so you're predicting it's still going to be primarily a ground game with a few shots down the field. Yeah,
I think somewhere in the realm of 24. Typically what he did last year, throw between 19 to 24, 25, 26 passes a game, right? Just to keep the defense honest. The best thing about the team up north is they're a well-balanced attack. I mean, that they're coming to pound you in the face with a football, but they're not gonna throw 60 yards down the field. They're very methodical on how they on their offense and their scheme. So they kind of just pound you, and then when you don't see it, you're like, oh my gosh, and then next thing you know, it's a 20-yard touchdown pass. So,
well, Alex, I'm gonna step in. They did take some shots down the field last year. They did take those. They just missed them
because he's bad. Last year he was bad. Listen, it's fine. It's fine. He's not terrible. He was just a bad downfield thrower of the football last year.
Coming off shoulder surgery.
This year might be different. This year might be completely different. We typically like to see we anticipate players to get better, especially highly ranked players. We expect them to get better every single year. So I expect him to be better this year. But last year he was just not very good. He just wasn't. I think people are anticipating, you talk about he could potentially be a first round pick. Okay. I mean, Jordan Love was a first round pick and he's terrible. So that doesn't really mean very much. So was a kid from New York. He's garbage too. That's not saying a lot. But we'll really just have to wait and see. We'll have to wait and see what happens. Like I said, I like the kid. Listen, he's a gamer. He's tough. I like quarterbacks like him who are tough as nails. They just want to win. It doesn't matter how it looks. But when we start projecting out about, the NFL and things like that, that's a completely different conversation than what you would have typically trying to win a college game.
Okay. Let's see. We're at 30 minutes. I'm going to pull the top 25 back up. Let's see. So, Alex, are there any other teams in the Big Ten that give you pause?
Penn State.
Okay.
Penn State gives me pause. I just have this very strange, weird feeling that it makes sense for Michigan to win the Big Ten.
Mm-hmm.
Man, I just have this odd feeling Penn State's just going to come out of nowhere and really make some noise. Yeah, I have nothing. I have no inside anything, no reporting. It's just
a feeling you have.
Yeah, it's just a feeling I have. The only thing I don't like is I don't like their coach. I don't like James Franklin. I think he's a terrible in-game coach. He's an amazing recruiter. They're loaded over there at Penn State. I mean, they have a really good roster.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't like. Yeah, I just don't like that. I don't like his adjustments that he makes in games or lack thereof adjustments. But there's just something doesn't feel right there.
Even with Clifford gone and that young guy.
Listen, that young, I think Ohio State would probably want to do over because they had a really good opportunity to get him, but they chose to take Quentin Ewers, which who wouldn't. And then obviously he went back to Texas, but they could have had him. They could have had him easily, and he can sling it. He really can. So, we'll see what happens with him. I think one thing about the top 25 I don't like.
What's that?
I do not like USC being number 4.
I think Bama's number 4.
No, I think USC is number 4.
On this one, Bama's number 4.
Okay.
Well, that's the thing. Not every poll is the same.
Yeah, not every poll is the same.
So one.
I was looking at it has Bama number 3, USC number 4, Ohio State number 5. I think Ohio State 5 is fine. Maybe I don't like Alabama, and I don't like that USC. There, that's tough. I think you can kind of interchange those. I just think USC getting the pants spanked by Utah, that just leaves a bad taste in my mouth when it comes to the Trojans. Now I understand they probably have to have them there because they have the reigning Heisman Trophy winner, but
mm-hmm.
I'm not a believer in USC because they can't play defense. Notre Dame is interesting. I think Notre Dame probably should be ranked a little bit higher. I think Tennessee probably should be ranked a little bit lower, given all of the players that they lost. I don't believe in Joe Milton. I'll never believe in Joe Milton unless he's running for Congress, maybe. I don't necessarily like Clemson. Florida State's they're gonna have to show me. Listen, I'm like an hour and a half away from Tallahassee, an hour away from Gainesville, so I'm in that Florida State like country, and everybody's talking about how Florida State's going to win a national championship this year. I don't believe it. I think they have a really solid team. We'll just have to wait and see. I think they play LSU first game of the year. That's actually going to be one of the games I'm going to be sitting down watching, because I do believe in LSU. They beat Alabama last year. I think they can do it again.
Okay.
They had a lot of players depart. I really, really hate Brian Kelly. I think he's a piece of crap as a person, but he's a heck of a football coach.
Okay.
I just don't like him because every place that he coaches at, he says he's never going to leave, and then he leaves. So, I mean, he did it at Western Michigan. He did it at Notre Dame. But I digress. The rankings they're great for discussion. I don't think this is how things are going to shake out this year. I think it's interesting that you have three. I'm very happy that we're getting away from divisions after this year as well, to be able to open things up, because I don't believe that the winner of Ohio State, Michigan, Ohio State, Penn State, Ohio State, Michigan, Penn State should kind of determine one team playing for a Big Ten championship, especially like, for instance, like last year's game.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely they probably should have played again in Indy. So I'm looking forward to that change.
So Alex, walk us through what they're changing.
So we're going away from divisions. Obviously, USC, UCLA are coming into the Big Ten officially next year, which I'm not excited about. But got to roll with the times. Expansion is important to kind of keep up with the Joneses.
Mm-hmm.
And looks like it's possible that Oregon and Washington are going to be joining too, now that the Pac-12 is kind of dissolving.
Wow.
We'll just kind of wait and see what happens with that. But I think that's possibly on the horizon. I don't think there's really anywhere for some of those teams to go. So we just kind of have to wait and see, what happens with that. But again, we're going away from divisions, far away from leaders and whatever the other name of the
Leaders and legends.
Yeah, far away from that. But yeah, we're kind of going to a round robin of sorts, and two best teams in the conference will play for the championship. So
a round robin, meaning it's going to change.
Yeah. So
every year.
Yeah. So no. Yeah. So you'll play. I can't remember the actual makeup of the structure. I mean, of how they're going to do it. But certain teams will play. They'll play like, let's say like UCLA USC will obviously still play UCLA, right? But they might play Ohio State 2 years in a row. Then they might play Purdue 2 years in a row, and then they might play Penn State 2 years in a row. They'll kind of do like almost like a round robin of sorts, where everybody's not going to play everybody, every single year. Like some teams they'll keep the rivalries that are some are in conference and the ones that are out, but there'll be no divisions, and everybody will just kind of play everybody equally or unequally. And the best record will play for the Big Ten championship in Indy every single year instead of the division leader. Yeah.
Okay. So in that case, that means that like if they were to do this, if this was done like 20 years ago, then undefeated Ohio State would have played undefeated Iowa that year. Okay. Which is, if you're going to decide your conference champion, which is how it should be.
Mm-hmm.
If you have two undefeated teams.
Yeah, I don't think there's any right way. I just think there's just the way that they, I think there's more than one way to skin a cat. So, I mean, I know it was, it's kind of like, kind of on the internet right now, Ryan Day talking about we should revisit when Michigan and Ohio State should play. I understand why he's saying it. But he's saying it because do you really want to play a team at the end of the year You might be 12-0. They might be 11-1. You might be 11-1. They might be 12-0. And then you have to turn around and play the week after. That just doesn't make a lot of sense, I don't believe. But if that's what it is, that's what it is. I'm sure they'll adjust. They'll make top. If that happens repetitively, let's say like 5 years in a row, there'll be some adjustments. There'll be adjustments in the conference that would be made.
Okay, but that's back to sacrificing tradition for modernization. Because back in the day, there was no championship game. It was
True.
the regular season, and that game was played at the end.
But it is a tradition. That traditions change.
Okay. Yeah, that's true. Any news from Columbus with a month left to go before?
We still don't have a starting quarterback yet.
I thought it was McCord.
Not yet. He hasn't been named the official starter yet. My money is on Devin Brown. So,
Well, you don't think McCord's gonna take it?
I think he is. I think Devin Brown's the more dynamic player, which is
he's a better athlete.
Yeah, he's a better athlete, which I think is what Ohio State needs right now. Plus, you get him for 2 years, minimum 2 years.
How long do you have McCord?
I mean, he's a junior. Devin Brown's a sophomore. So, I mean, with the way the QB room right now is structured, you have Aaron Nolan, you have Lincoln Keenholz, you have Devin Brown, then Kyle McCord. Somewhere along there's going to be a log jam. And I don't want to lose Lincoln Keenholz because I think he's going to be really good when he's ready to play. And I don't want to lose Aaron Nolan either because I'm interested to see what the lefty has, interested to see what that lefty looks like. So the guys that they have in the room are fit more of Devin Brown's type of game than Kyle McCord's type of game. So Kyle McCord is more the surgical CJ Stroud type, pick you apart thrower. Devin Brown, Lincoln Keenholz, Aaron Nolan. Aaron Nolan can run a little bit, but those guys are more athletic at the QB position.
Okay. So you don't want another drop back?
No.
Sit in the pocket, wait to make the throw type of guy?
No, I don't. Listen, I think 5 years ago when Dwayne Haskins was playing quarterback, it's perfect, right? Sit back there, throw for 5,000 yards, potential play for a national championship, great. Today's game, you gotta move. You got to be on the move. You have to be able to make plays when things break down, and things will break down. So I'm not a fan of that. I mean, and McCord can do that a little bit, just not to the level of those other guys that I named.
Okay. Yeah, there really aren't any more Peyton Manning types anymore, right? I mean, all the quarterbacks, it's evolved to being able to run around, make something up on the fly when the play breaks down.
Yep.
I think.
Which I think is good. I mean, making plays off schedule, I think is necessary, especially as players get bigger, faster, and stronger. I think it's necessary to be able to have that skill set.
When you match up against Georgia.
The guy doesn't want to run all year, right? And then he decides to run. He's probably scared out of his boots.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I think that's just, everything typically evolves into something else, right? Everything, you're always looking for the next trend. And I think that's the trend, is to have a player, like a Caleb Williams, who can not only throw, but can make off schedule throws, can extend plays, things like that, things that, other players previously have been able to do. So I think all in all, the QB position as a whole, I think there's always going to be room for those players who can just stand there and deliver the ball. But I think the days of being able just to do one thing really good as a quarterback, just throw the football, are over. Those days are over. Which is why Joe Milton's going to be terrible this year.
Which is why you think who?
Joe Milton's going to be terrible this year.
Geez. No, well, Joe's not Joe could run, and he's big and he's strong.
But he can't throw the football.
he can't throw it accurately.
No.
He's got lots of velocity. He's got lots of
Listen,
zip, but
if he's trying to throw it to target, I'm sure he can get it there. But he can't throw the football with that any type of accuracy. I mean, we've seen that. And he's in his 6th year, so if you haven't got it by now, you probably don't have it, which says a lot about Tennessee's quarterback room.
Mm-hmm. Well, especially since they could see his issues when he was with us.
Yeah,
there should have been a plan to tighten those things up.
I mean, listen, it's a 7-yard slant. He's throwing it 95 miles an hour. It's a problem.
Okay.
I mean, listen, he's a very, very athletic Jamarcus Russell. That's what he is.
Okay. Abdul used to root for them when Jamarcus Russell got drafted.
Abdul used to root for everybody. I don't.
He used to be a Raider guy. And Lane Kiffin was the coach. And Al Davis roasted him. Okay, so last question. I'm looking at my clock here. So the quarterback position is not decided. Do you guys have most? We know Olave's gone. You still have Marvin. You still have
Marvin, Emeka Egbuka, Julian Fleming, Xavier Johnson, who is kind of like the Swiss Army knife. He plays a little bit of running back, a little bit of that X. He kind of does everything. We also have Jaden Ballard, who is probably one of the fastest players on the team, if not in college. He's fast. He's really fast. And then we have players like Kojo Antwi and Carnell Tate and Carlos Rogers. Like the wide receiver room is just it's about a stack. Yeah, I've never seen anything like it in college before. It's like it kind of reminds me of how the cornerback and safety and linebacker rooms were like at the U, but like times 2. Mm-hmm. Like the early 90s, like late 80s, early 90s, but like times 2. That's how the wide receiver room is. Obviously the one question mark that is glaring on this team is offensive line. Trying to find the best 5 guys. I know they got some transfers in, and they're trying to do the best they can with kind of what they have. So we'll just have to wait and see what comes of that. But typically all the other rooms are pretty loaded. As far as I know, Evan Pryor, who got hurt last year, who's a running back, I think he's the last one. I don't think he's been cleared to play yet. I thought he was, but I don't think that he's been cleared to play yet. So, 5 really good running backs, probably 8, 9 really good receivers. Quarterback and offensive line is kind of the question. So I think as long as we don't get dinged up like kind of like we have been the last couple of years towards the end of the year, we might have a chance. We'll see.
Okay.
Like I said, injuries are big. Injuries can hurt you or they can help you one way or another. So, you always is one of those things I really wish like the actual game at the end of the year. I wish we had like 2 weeks off so everybody could be healthy.
Yeah. But,
when they say if you start a sentence with the word if, that means it's not true. So, hopefully they'll be healthy at the end of the year, and we'll just kind of see what happens from there. See how things develop over the season, and hopefully everybody's healthy, at the end of the year. Not only for a good game, but injuries suck. I played college basketball, got injured a couple times, and it's terrible. Rehab is like it just sucks. So
yeah, as a coach, you can't. Well, unless you have depth, you can't plan for it. And then, depending upon how bad the injury is, sometimes you come back, you're not the same player.
Yeah, I mean, listen.
Sometimes.
I have a kid in my house now who, he tore his tibia playing basketball last year, and in December, and he's just now like being semi-comfortable jumping on it, right? And this kid he's probably going to be a Division I player. Like, if he gets back. But like you can't. The mental side of that when it comes to injury is you can't really account for. You can't account for that. So.
Yep. All right, Alex, do you have anything else?
Yeah, one last thing. So I'm sure everybody on this, obviously, if you're watching, subscribe is free. Doesn't cost you anything. You can come and yell at me. I'll take all your slander. I'll throw some stuff back. I love it. But we do have a gentleman in Ohio who is making his decision on Sunday. So
Who is it?
Aaron Scott.
Okay.
Decision between Michigan and Ohio State.
Okay.
Making the decision on his dad's birthday on Sunday. So, look out for that. A lot of people think he's going to be an Ohio State lean because he's making a decision on his dad's birthday, and his dad is a huge Buckeye fan. I do not believe that one bit. I think it can come down to either one of those teams. Some people say Oregon is kind of in the mix. I don't believe they are. I really think it's an Ohio up north battle. So we'll see. I think that we'll see what wins out. So I know we lost one Ohio kid to Michigan, which is interesting because it's a running back position and you can kind of replace those. Running backs are like plug and play. You can find one anywhere. So, you never want to lose an Ohio kid to the team up north. You never want to do that, but it happens. So this one, this is cornerback. I mean, it's a very important position I think for both defenses. Going forward, he's a top 50 kid. Recruiting wise, I want to say he's maybe maybe 7th or 8th cornerback in the class. So, very good player. Very, very looks like he has some really good upside. So on Sunday, we'll see where he lands.
All right, everyone, look out for that. Yeah, well, thanks, Alex. I have a hard stop and a couple of other things to do before happy hour.
Me too, as well.
Okay. How hot is it down there in Florida?
It's cooling off right now. It actually just started raining, so I gotta go put some stuff on so I can get to it.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you for coming and talking. I always appreciate this. And yeah, I'm going to resume at the end of August.
Okay, ready for kickoff. Good luck. See you guys in November. Again, I'm sure we'll do this again before the game.
Several times. Yep.
Yeah. And bring your slander. I'm ready for it. Bring your stats. I got stats too. Numbers don't lie. Men and women do. So I'll be ready.
All right, Alex. Take care.
All right, you too.
Talk to you soon. All right, everyone. That's gonna wrap this stream up for today. I have a hard stop and some other things to do, and I'll be taking a hiatus until the end of August. Once again, I've been in communication with Johnny Olden, and he said he was up to come back and chop it up about the 2023 season. That's fun because Johnny is passionate. Johnny knows his stuff. And yeah, that makes for a good time. So for those of you who don't know, I am a writer. I'm working on a sports-related book project. What you will see in August is I am finishing up part 2 of my interview with Coach Ronald Wolfs, who was a coach over in the Netherlands and Belgium. And he was a student and a disciple of my high school basketball coach, Coach Ken Jones, who is a major character in my story. Let me just pull this up really quickly since I'm wrapping up. This is my book project, The Engineers, a Western New York Basketball Story. And I am in the latter stages. Anyway, this is the book here. And that's the wrong. There, that's it. Okay. So that's the page. If you're curious, please take a look at the page. And you will see an interview here on the channel with me and this gentleman right here. He's from Europe, and he coaches in Europe, and he was a key. He was a student of the game under my coach, a disciple, a student, whatever you want to call it. And I'm finishing up part 2, so you will see that go up in August. And please give it a watch. Please give it a like. We talk about basketball and life and how they interrelate and his coaching philosophies. And we talk about the book. Please take a look at the link. It's in the description box below. And also, please consider joining my newsletter. This link is also in the description box. That's if you are a reader. Not a lot of people are, and I've heard quite a few YouTube viewers are not readers, but please consider joining. The link is below in the description box. And yeah, if you want to make a donation to the channel, my Cash App and PayPal are in the description box. And you can also leave a super thanks if you see fit. So with that, everyone, I'm going to wrap this up. Go Blue. As always, remember that your attitude determines your altitude. Always try to do your best. Take care, and I will talk to you the next time. And let's hope there are no surprises on the injury front in August. Me and Alex talked about injuries. My prediction is if the Wolverines stay healthy, hey, why wouldn't they repeat as Big Ten champions? But oftentimes, and I don't want to jinx it, we get news in August about something happening to somebody in training camp or during drills. So let's keep our fingers crossed that nothing happens in training camp in the next month. All right, everyone, enjoy the rest of your Friday, and I will talk to you again soon. Bye-bye.